Imagine a world vastly different from our own. Towering forests are filled with the hum of enormous insects. Giant dragonflies with wings spanning several feet dart through the air. Massive ants, their bodies longer than a human hand, march in disciplined columns across the forest floor. This is not science fiction, but a glimpse into an alternate reality. A world where giant insects never went extinct. This is not entirely implausible. During the Paleozoic era, around 359 to 252 million years ago, giant insects were a common sight. This period, known as the Carboniferous, was a time of high oxygen levels in the atmosphere, reaching up to 35%. These conditions allowed insects which breathe through a system of tubes called trachea to grow to enormous sizes. The sight of these creatures would be both awe-inspiring and intimidating. Their sheer size would demand respect, forcing humans to adapt and find new ways to coexist. This world of giant insects presents a fascinating thought experiment, challenging us to imagine a reality vastly different from our own. To understand the existence of giant insects, we must travel back millions of years to the Paleozoic era. This period, specifically the Carboniferous, was a time of incredible oxygen levels, far higher than what we experience today. The atmosphere, rich in oxygen, acted like a supercharger for insect evolution. Insects, unlike mammals, don't have lungs. They breathe through a network of tubes called tracheae. Air enters these tubes through openings called spiracles located along their bodies. This system is very efficient, but it also limits the size an insect can reach. The higher the oxygen concentration in the air, the larger these insects can grow. During the Carboniferous, the abundance of oxygen allowed insects to overcome this size limitation. Dragonflies with wingspans rivaling that of a hawk soared through the prehistoric skies. Millipedes longer than a human being crawled on the forest floor. This period was truly the reign of giant insects. However, as the Paleozoic era drew to a close, oxygen levels began to decline. This change in atmospheric composition had a profound impact on insect life. Giant insects, no longer able to sustain their massive sizes, gradually disappeared. In a world where giant insects persisted, their impact on ecosystems would be profound. They would be ecological forces, shaping the environment and influencing the evolution of other species. One of the most significant roles of insects is pollination. Giant insects could pollinate a wider variety of plants. This would lead to the evolution of unique flora. Decomposition is another crucial process influenced by giant insects. Their role in breaking down organic matter would be amplified. Giant insects would also occupy various levels of the food chain. The presence of giant insects would necessitate significant adaptations for humans. Our cities, infrastructure, and even our way of life would need to change dramatically to accommodate these enormous creatures. This world would demand innovation and a deep understanding of giant insect behavior. Architecture and urban planning would need to be reimagined. Buildings might be constructed on stilts or with smooth, slippery surfaces to deter climbing insects. Specialized barriers and defense mechanisms would be essential to protect crops and food stores from giant herbivores. Transportation systems might favor aerial routes or underground tunnels to avoid encounters with massive insects on the surface. Humans would also need to develop new technologies and strategies for interacting with giant insects. Perhaps sonic repellents or pheromone-based deterrents could be employed to manage insect populations and prevent unwanted interactions. Specialized protective gear would be essential for anyone venturing into areas with high concentrations of giant insects. This world would require us to rethink our relationship with nature. Instead of viewing insects as pests, we would need to learn to coexist with them, respecting their power and adapting to their presence. Symbiosis or struggle. Coexistence and its challenges. The relationship between humans and giant insects wouldn't be easy. While adaptations would be necessary, they wouldn't guarantee a harmonious coexistence. There would be inevitable challenges, conflicts, and perhaps even opportunities for unexpected symbiosis. Competition for resources would be a constant concern. Giant insects with their large appetites could decimate crops and disrupt food chains, leading to potential shortages for humans. Their sheer size and strength could pose a constant threat to infrastructure, requiring constant vigilance and maintenance. Communication would be another hurdle. Understanding the behavior and communication signals of giant insects would be crucial to prevent conflict. Misinterpreting a warning signal or unknowingly encroaching on a nesting ground could have disastrous consequences. However, this coexistence wouldn't be without its benefits. Humans might find ways to utilize the unique properties of giant insects. Imagine harnessing the strength of giant ants for transportation, or utilizing their intricate societal structures for insights into collective intelligence. Giant allies. Benefits of a world with giant insects. Coexisting with giant insects could offer surprising benefits. Humans might harness the unique characteristics of these giant creatures. Pest control could be revolutionized. Giant dragonflies and ants could control pests naturally. Giant insects could provide a sustainable food source. They offer a protein-rich alternative to traditional livestock. Studying giant insects could lead to groundbreaking discoveries. Their physiology could inspire new materials and robotics. 7. When giants threaten, the perils of coexistence. Despite potential benefits, the dangers posed by giant insects cannot be ignored. Their size and strength could present a constant threat to human safety and infrastructure. Coexistence would require constant vigilance and preparedness. Physical harm is an immediate danger. A chance encounter could be fatal. Their powerful mandibles or stingers could inflict serious damage. Safety protocols and protective gear are essential. Infrastructure would also be at risk. Giant insects could cause significant damage to buildings and roads. Constant monitoring and specialized construction techniques are necessary. The ecological impact could have unforeseen consequences for human health. The spread of diseases or disruption of ecosystems could create new challenges. Awe and inspiration. Lessons from a world of giants. Living in a world with giant insects would be humbling. It would remind us we are not the ultimate power on this planet. This interaction could foster awe and wonder. Imagine the discoveries from studying their biology and behavior. Their physiology could inspire new technologies. Coexisting with them could foster cooperation and innovation. This world would remind us of life's interconnectedness. Conservation in a world of giants. Protecting the small and the large. In a world dominated by giant insects, conservation efforts would take on a whole new meaning. Protecting both the giant insects and the smaller creatures within their ecosystem would be crucial for maintaining balance and ensuring the survival of all species, including humans. Specialized conservation areas might be established, providing safe havens for giant insects and allowing scientists to study their behavior and ecology without human interference. These areas could also serve as gene banks, preserving the genetic diversity of these unique creatures for future generations. Public awareness campaigns would be essential to educate people about the importance of giant insect conservation. Dispelling myths and fears surrounding these creatures would be crucial to fostering a sense of respect and understanding. Conservation efforts wouldn't be limited to giant insects. Protecting their habitats, which would likely be intertwined with those of smaller creatures, would be equally important. This would involve sustainable land management practices, responsible resource consumption, and a global effort to combat climate change. The future of giants. Possibilities and uncertainties. The future of a world with giant insects is shrouded in possibilities and uncertainties. As with any evolutionary pathway, adaptation and change would be constant. The relationship between humans and giant insects would continue to evolve, leading to new challenges and opportunities. Giant insects facing environmental pressures and competition for resources might undergo further evolutionary changes. New species could emerge, while others might disappear. Their size, behavior, and ecological roles could shift, leading to a constantly evolving dynamic within the ecosystem. Humans, too, would continue to adapt. Technological advancements might lead to even more sophisticated methods of coexisting with giant insects, from advanced communication systems to genetic engineering techniques that could mitigate potential conflicts. However, the future also holds uncertainties. Natural disasters, disease outbreaks, or unforeseen ecological imbalances could threaten the delicate balance of this world. The fate of giant insects, and indeed all life on this planet, would depend on our ability to adapt, cooperate, and make responsible choices. Our world, their world, a final reflection. While the idea of a world dominated by giant insects might seem like a fantastical thought experiment, it offers valuable insights into our own relationship with the natural world. It reminds us of the incredible diversity of life on Earth and the importance of even the smallest creatures. In our own world, insects play vital roles in maintaining ecological balance. They pollinate our crops, decompose organic matter, and serve as a food source for countless other species. Yet we often overlook their importance, viewing them as pests to be eradicated rather than essential partners in sustaining life. The imagined world of giant insects serves as a powerful reminder of the interconnectedness of all living things. It challenges us to reconsider our place in the natural world and to approach conservation efforts with a renewed sense of urgency. By appreciating the importance of insects, both large and small, we can work towards a future where humans and nature thrive together.